Folks, I had jokes.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 5 of Dark Side Thoughts. We got the whole gang back. We got myself, Mr. Alex. We have Mr. Koola, Lil E. Langston, and Tev, the Destroyer. And he's always going to shake his head at that. Like, I don't know what else he's expecting. But yeah, we're back here to discuss the Dino. I forgot his last name.
Bravo.
Oh. Dino Bravo?
Yes.
Is that okay? Dino Bravo, or as his regular name, Adolfo Bresciano or Brescia. Well, I think it was either one of them. I forgot the last name. But come from, apparently there's actually Mafia in Canada. Who fucking knew? Like, Ashore was right. Mr. Koola was right. The first time ever. I'm joking. No, but it was an interesting episode because like we talked about it last week, how like we wanted to see some like how we want to see some mafioso shit like within the wrestling world, which as big as the wrestling world is, like you would have to assume that not that it has a direct tie to like a wrestling promotion per se, because it didn't really have a direct tie to the promotion or anything. It was just something that happened after the fact. But either way, like the fact that it involved a wrestler and it revolves around his death, like it's a pretty crazy episode to see the dynamic from him, like from Dino Bravo being a wrestler and then becoming a promoter and pretty much co-owner of the International Wrestling, was it called in Canada? Yeah, in Montreal and Quebec. And from going from that to trying to compete with WWF at the time, and it was just super interesting. And it did open up some eyes to see how a lot of people went from Canada to WWF, like, and how much of a fucking not beast Vince McMahon is, but just like the savviness that he has in business in terms of like getting the wrestlers in. Like he was just killing the competition from the US all the way up to Canada, and that's what led him ultimately to the life of crime as being an enforcer for the Mafia in Canada. But it was a good one. It was insightful, and I liked the episode. What did you guys think?
Cigarettes and alcohol.
I mean, I didn't think cigarette smuggling was still really a thing, even in the 80s.
Canada. But
nobody was getting that tax money from that.
Okay.
That's why they were able to sell it so long. But
it just threw me off.
It's sad, but what do you expect from, it wasn't a regular 9-to-5 job he got. He was an enforcer for a mafia family,
that he was related to, technically, like, which was another crazy thing, like, which it's not crazy because, like, you always get the stigma, like, if you're Italian, oh, you must be part of the mafia or the mob or whatever. Like, if you might say, oh, I know people, and be like, yeah, but like anybody could know people. Like, I know people of a certain gang that I shouldn't like even say anything about, but yeah, I know where I'm from. So exactly that face that Koola is putting, exactly. But
not added in nothing.
Exactly. Please don't add in anything. But the thing is, like, yeah, we all have those connections, but he had a direct connection. Like it was there all the time, and it was only till like he made it to the WWF and started spending big, and once he got the big money from the WWF, like he went to that life of crime because he was no longer needed. Like pretty much what's happening now with the people that get into WWE from being in the indies or from other spots, like the same shit is still happening today that happened in the early 90s or late 90s, like, early 90s actually. You get in, you got this promise, you got this great contract, you're like, holy shit, I'm in WWE, and after a couple of years, if you're deemed surplus to the requirements, get the fuck out. Or you're just contract locked for a long ass time doing fucking main event bullshit, like not main event stuff, but like just getting lost in the shuffle in the mid card and shit.
Like being on the main event show and not the main event.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly what I
And
mean.
he wasn't taken seriously either. So
No, he wasn't. Like, because he was a hot
when
shit.
he came to WWE.
The
Yeah,
blonde
'cause he-
hair was crazy to me. Like
That was nuts.
the
That
fact
was
you couldn't
fucked up.
embrace that. Like if you can't do it, if you can't embrace it after a while, fuck it. You should live with it before you actually go onto the stage with that. Because if you can't embrace that by yourself as who you are, maybe you shouldn't do it. Because it's not going to translate well, and it didn't.
The thing is, the problem is like he was the top guy. He was used to being the top guy because he booked himself as the top guy. He was the head promoter. He booked himself as the top guy in international wrestling in Montreal and his promotion and whatnot. And for you to be the top guy, booking yourself as the top guy, everybody's around you. And there were reasons why people were leaving because, like, you know, they thought they could be top guys. And like, as a good promoter, like, you would eventually see like, hey, I do have another roster. I can give myself some time. I can step back. He didn't do that. He didn't push anybody else. He didn't put anybody else over. It mainly revolved around him. So I could see the reasoning for people wanting to leave after a while. Like, he was a hot shit in Canada for a long ass time. But after a while, like, as a wrestler, you're gonna get tired of that shit. And they explained that, like, you get tired of not being the top guy. Like, he's always the top guy. He's always the top guy. He's always the top guy. Yeah, you're the owner. But after a while, like, look at what AEW is doing. Like, the 4 VPs, have any of them really been champion? No.
Yeah.
So, like, it's besides Kenny and as tag team, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like, it's still like they knew where to limit themselves. Maybe in a couple of years they might be like the top guys, but like right now they know what they have to do. You got to put other people over and put your brand up. He wasn't doing that, so they started leaving to WWF, and then after that, like, he had to follow because Vince was taking all their stars.
Yeah,
all their stars.
The Mountie, who was it, Don Morocco?
Yeah.
He was big.
The Martel, like, yeah.
Andre.
Like, yeah, Andre.
Yeah.
Andre was fucking huge. And they were even teasing matches between Hulk Hogan and Dino Bravo in Montreal, but Vince didn't want to do it because he was scared about, you know, Hulk Hogan not being the shit in Montreal. So that's when he just started calling people over, and he was just like, and he just started pulling all his wrestlers. You roll your eyes, but you still laugh. And but that's what happened. And he got stuck in the shuffle just like a lot of stars, like EC3, Eric Young, fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm sorry?
I said pretty much like everyone that just got released.
Yeah. And it's just like WWE is no different. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, it is different from back then. But in terms of that type of stuff, it's no different. It's no different at all.
It's the same boss and it's the same structure. So it's really not.
Like, there's a lot of hype, and then they get there, it fizzles out, and then before you know it, they're just fed up with the company.
Yeah.
So it's like a never-ending cycle.
Well, it's, to me, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, Jimmy Hart even had him over.
Yeah.
And then they took Jimmy Hart from him. I don't get things like that where you I don't get it. Like, you put them over for a while, and then I guess when you want them to not be over, you get rid of them. Like, you just put them out in the sun like a fucking raisin.
I mean, you can't keep Jimmy Hart on forever.
You can't, but you can also, having Jimmy Hart was akin to having Paul Heyman with Lesnar. Like, not that he was the Lesnar of the day, obviously, because you had Andre the Giant, you had Warrior, you had Hulk Hogan, you had all these people. You had fucking Superfly at the time as well. So, like, the thing is, you could have elevated him to legit main event status with Jimmy Hart, but they didn't do that. And the thing is, he got frustrated because of the fact that, like, he was the top shit because he booked himself that way. He wasn't used to not being the top guy. And it's just one of those things, like, well, you kind of set yourself up for that, you know, like, kind of reap what you sow in terms of, like, I'm gonna book myself as the top guy the whole time, and nobody else is gonna be the top guy. But then once you get to the bigger promotion, people are way not better than you, because who's to say people were actually better wrestlers than him, but people were just higher in the marketing chain, let's say, because that's basically what they do in the WWE. If you market, good, you're top guy. If you can't, you're not going to. And he wasn't selling.
I don't think like it was a problem with him being the top guy. With international wrestling, like you said, it was him constantly booking himself. But if he did like share the wealth, if he shared the love a little bit more, maybe he wouldn't have been in the predicament he was in when he went to WWF at the time.
Yeah, because the guys end up getting bigger offers. Like, you're going to get a bigger offer from this one place that's noticing you, that's pretty much taking over the world. Meanwhile, the one company that you're loyal to, the one guy that you're loyal to, the three guys really, because it was a promotion of, it was three promoters for the company. They're only booking this one guy. After a while, you're going to get tired. Like, I don't want to keep fighting this guy. I don't want to have to keep tagging with this guy. I want to be in the main event without him. Like, and pretty much what happened was like he wore himself out. So it's pretty much like, I don't want to say the downfall is his fault, because it's not, but like the downfall of his wrestling career kind of is. He wore himself out. He didn't utilize anyone else around him. He didn't even utilize taking time off of himself. What ended up happening was he made himself such a big fish in a small pond. When he went to WWE, all of the fish are the same size. Maybe a couple might be bigger than you. And we're going to have to shuffle some things up, so we can't utilize you that much. Or we have to utilize other people, and you're going to get mad because you're not main event for a month. And exactly. People start talking about you. So that's pretty much what happened. It's just between that and a lot of people, whether they say it or not, a lot of people didn't like him. They said he had a temper.
Yeah. I mean, but people have tempers.
It's not the first time somebody, hated in the locker room that gets over,
Yeah.
So, it's more like he couldn't connect with the fans. They said he had such a hard time connecting with the fans. His promo skills weren't that great, thick accent. That's why he needed Jimmy Hart. That's why he suffered when they took him away. He just couldn't keep up. He couldn't swim in the big pool.
Definitely true. So I don't know, like, what could have been an actual. It might have. To me, it seems like it was all political.
Well, yeah.
Like, if they're not pushing you, they're not pushing you for a reason.
Because this is the thing. Like he said, like he said, promo skills. You have to be able to sell yourself. Look at Shinsuke. If you can't talk English, if you can't be understood, Asuka, same thing, exactly. And they're two of the best in the world at what they do, easily, hands down. But the problem is you can't fucking talk. Or you could talk, but you can't communicate in the correct language that people want to hear you in. Not that their languages are correct, but if you're in English, like if you're in America, they want to hear you in English. Unfortunately, that's the fucking hard truth. Even him coming from Canada, when the documentary started, not documentary, but when the episode started, I'm watching this shit, and all of a sudden, the fuck is so funny?
I'm an asshole, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'm mute.
English.
Unmute yourself. You're a fucking asshole. But unmute yourself, dude. Anyway, but the thing is, like, him when the episode started and they started speaking in like French and stuff, and even my own thought was like,
yeah, I gotta read it.
Why aren't you in English? Like that was my first thought, and it's so fucked up that was my first thought. But that was my first thought. I'm like, you're in Canada. You can speak English. Why are you doing French? But then once she started speaking English, I was like, oh, yeah. Right. I was like, I forgot a lot of you. I was like, you're speaking the not so French, but you're still speaking French, like,
the language of the area, because they're still in Quebec.
Exactly. Yeah. But so yeah, like that's a big thing. Like, if you can't talk, if you can't like express yourself to the crowd, then, and if you can't be understood, then that's a big thing of leading to downfall. We still see that today with a lot of people, even if they speak English. they just suck at promos and they can't get across, you know? So
or just relating to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much the same reason why I haven't watched Parasite yet. Like, I don't want to read the whole damn movie. So just to say what you were saying, like, it did bother me as well, just watching Dark Side, the episode this week, and just the way they started with the subtitles, it did bother me as well. Then I'm like, shit, I have to watch.
It didn't bother me. It just confused me for a second. Like me, I'm used to watching stuff with subtitles. I'm used to watching foreign films like Parasite. I'm used to watching a shitload of anime and all that stuff. And if they subtitled New Japan and they didn't have English commentary, I would still watch it too. But the thing is, like, it just caught me off guard where I was just like, wait, it's Canada. Like, so it just confused me for a second. Like, but I know a lot of people do not like to have subtitles to read. Like you said, like you haven't watched Parasite. Like I know people that watch anime in English that are just like, oh no, I'm not gonna read. I'm just like
warning. Like for me, I felt like I needed that warning, and I had none. It was like I just wasn't ready for it. Like I have to be ready to watch a movie or a TV show with subtitles for the whole duration of whatever I'm watching. It wasn't bad. Like it can come across very well depending on what you're watching, but like I said, it depends on what you're watching. So how did you feel about the subtitles, E?
I normally tried listening to the episodes as I drive. I couldn't do it with this one. I had to, once I heard the French or whatever dialect that was speaking.
It was French. It was French.
Once I heard she was speaking in French, I like pulled over immediately and like, what the fuck? But yeah, it was different. It was different.
What about you, Tub?
I mean, I'm the same like you. Like I watch a lot of animes and whatnot, so I really didn't mind the subtitles.
Yeah.
My thing was, like you seen, like in the last couple of weeks, I would text you guys about the show that it's out now, and 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's a no. That's a no-go. I'm laying down and I'm paying attention, but I'm not really paying attention. So it's like I said, I just had to be ready.
But that's also because you're watching at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So you're not going to want to do all that shit at that time.
Yeah, like I got 100% attention right now.
All right, so let's get into like his, like the whole Mafia thing. Like after he left the WWF, like that's a fucking crazy hit. 7 times to the chest and 4 in the face. Like it was the other way around. My bad. It was the other way around. 7 times to the head, 4 in the face, like 4 in the chest. Sorry. It's a lot. That's.
I didn't know the head can hold that many bullets.
I mean, you could shoot anything 11 times.
Yeah, but
it also, and this is the thing.
Not your house though. Like that doesn't sound like that's that far of a distance. That's kind of close range.
And this is the crazy thing. One thing that I picked up from it that like struck me very fucking odd. So the daughter said, or the mom, I don't remember if it was the daughter or the mom or his wife, but like the daughter said that they went to a ballet, right? Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
They left at 9 p.m.
Yeah, and they came back at 12
for a ballet. That doesn't. That kind of like threw me off a bit. I was like, you're gonna go at 9 o'clock for a ballet? Most ballets, fortunately, I've been to a couple. Most ballets start like around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I would understand, or even 7 o'clock because you have the intermission in between, depending on what you're gonna go watch. I know when I went to go see Swan Lake one time for like Valentine's Day and shit, like they had an intermission in between, so like it's at least 3 hours. So for you to be from a ballet starting at 9 o'clock for me, or even if you left at 9 and you came back after 12:30, depending on how far the theater is, like I'm saying maybe half an hour, maybe 20 to half an hour. Like it's just weird for you to leave at specifically 9 p.m. when he's about to watch a hockey game and then come back after.
I don't think the time is really that correct.
It's probably not. It probably isn't. But it just struck me odd when I saw that. I was just like, something seems weird.
Sounds like the show started at 9 to me. Like to me, that's what I like. The show started at 9.
But a ballet wouldn't start at 9, bro. I'm sorry. Not even back then. Yeah. Not even Canada. I don't think, at least.
I don't think so either. But I don't know. It's something there. I don't want to say it's in the family, but at the same time,
I mean, technically, might be in the family because his family was part of the mafia. Like what was it, the Patron or like Patron, his uncle was in the mafia, like
ex-wrestler from the 30s. Yeah,
exactly.
It was just everything about it was really weird though. Like,
and the fact that like there was barely any evidence.
No, they left.
They left 2 guns. They left a 22 and a 308, which was weird. Yeah, because the 308 round is we've shot 308s in Pennsylvania. 308 round is like about that big, so the casing is like about that big, the caliber. 22s are like almost a step above pea shooters, but still kill you, obviously. But like, and that's the other thing. Like, it's weird for me. Like, if you do a hit, right? Let's say you're doing a hit.
Yes, tell me if you're doing it.
You're gonna leave the guns? Why would you leave the guns?
Catching this shit. What has happened then?
If you were to do a hit, would you leave the guns?
Of course not.
No.
I'm leaving decoys. I would have to leave decoys and maybe not even leave those. So
like that's so weird. You wouldn't even leave a decoy. Like you'd get in and get out. Like you get in, do the deed, and get the fuck out. And on top of that, like, which is one thing. Like they were saying that okay, it might be the mafia, it might be tied to the mafia, blah blah. That's an execution style, blah blah. I'm like, I've seen enough movies and read enough documents and seen enough documentaries on the on the mafia stuff. Like they don't really do people like that. It's just 1 to the back of the head and you're pretty much done. Maybe 2, but while you're kneeling, unfortunately,
some of it, like a lot of it is to send a message and like multiple messages and shit like.
Yes, but that's a lot.
It's a lot of messages. It's a lot of messages.
That's excessive, actually.
Yeah, I don't like. It could have just been cigarettes and alcohol smuggling.
It had to have been something else, or what they said was, or something that they hit the head on the nail. Like I forgot the expression, whatever. They hit the nail on the head. There you go. And I think it was like they said something about the natives possibly like hiring the bikers and shit to do it, because that seems like a biker style fucking type of like
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy type shit. When they said that, I was like, yeah, that sounds like something they do. Seen Sons of Anarchy, we saw it in WWE 3 weeks ago. So like, you know, it's I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
I just can't get the visual of his blonde hair out of my head for some weird reason. It's like it just didn't work. It was like fake Ric Flair.
And the one other thing that's like really prevalent is like the door was unlocked, so clearly he was still sitting in the chair. He knew who it was, probably cool with him, and didn't see it coming. They didn't describe anything about like the entry or exit, like if it entered from the back of the head or from the front or anything like that, like because those are big fucking clues. Because if it was somebody he didn't know, you just walk in and pop him from the back like that. It would be pretty much that simple. But they didn't go into the autopsy report like they did in the last episode, saying, oh, you know, the ligature marks and everything. Like they didn't go over all the evidence that was available, which leads me to believe like a lot of the shit was probably hidden, because they talked about a lot of corruption back then as well. With the Quebec police and the Montreal police, which I'm not surprised.
The Mounties?
No, that's different. Mounties are state police.
No. Well, shit. Speaking of Mounties, I do want to talk about the hockey fight. I mean, the fight, the bar fight with the hockey player. Oh my God, dude! How are you gonna just go and charge somebody and damn near get ragdolled as a wrestler too? As a wrestler, you get ragdolled and big ass.
Well, he was like 18 or 19 at the time, no?
The amount he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. You're right. He was young, so he didn't have the right footing. He's drunk.
Little braggadocious.
Yeah. He just knew he was a wrestler, and the hockey player was just like that fake shit. And then fucking Dino, it was over. It was over once Dino got him.
Fucked up. Like he said, "Oh, like I got him. He's gonna handle it for me."
Yeah, well,
that's why. It was pretty like, yeah. I mean, that's a big fucking dude, honestly. Like, even like when you see the pictures of him and his daughter, and the pictures of just him like with around the other wrestlers, like he stood out. Like, motherfucker was huge.
Yeah,
and like his arms were fucking crazy too. And I was just like
right now, I can only compare him to Brian Cage.
That's fair.
That's the only wrestler right now today.
That's fair.
Brian Cage is
size, yeah. Or Lesnar. Or Lesnar.
Yeah, those three. EC3 is a little bit. He's just short.
How about Lashley?
Yeah, very comparable to those four. Actually, yeah, those are a good comparison.
Yeah, but like, man, I mean, this is a fucked up thing. Like, I understand like the shooters, whoever the fuck shot him, you do have the 22s. He was a big fucking guy, so maybe I do understand why they shot him fucking 11 times. Maybe not 7 times in the head. Like, that's a little excessive. Not a little, that's way excessive. But like, to make sure he's, I don't know. I just don't, it's just fucking weird, man. I'm just keep thinking about it. Like, you have multiple motives, like, of people possibly losing money. One of them asked one of the journalists saying, hey, do you think 50K is enough to kill somebody? Like, yeah, 50K. He's like, I've seen people get murdered for less, like, or I've heard of people getting murdered for less, especially with the Mafia. So, or any type of gang.
That's just you putting your foot in the door, really.
Yeah.
You do this for me, I get you something else.
Yeah.
Job if you do this.
But the thing was, he was an enforcer, so like, can somebody explain it? Because like, I did kind of check out at one fucking moment when they were explaining the whole thing with the cigarettes and like $400,000. I don't know exactly what it was. Does anybody remember? Or
it was $50,000 worth of contraband cigarettes. Right?
No, but they said that they were saying that he could have possibly cost the Mafia or the natives $400,000.
$400,000.
Yeah,
I checked out.
They were surveilling the warehouse where it was being stored at, and they got pictures of Dino with the cocaine supplier.
Okay.
So when when the cocaine supplier went to go collect or some shit like that, he got met by the police, and they cost him out for $400,000.
Oh yeah, that's way easy to. No, I mean, it's understandable.
Wasn't it? Weren't they saying like Dino was trying to tell them like instead of letting it sit there for like the 3 days, just clear it out immediately. Yeah, clear it out immediately. And like I think that's where the falling out began.
Yeah, sometimes you can't act like you're the boss. Even if you do know certain things, because you could just put it in there. So I don't know.
If you feel like you got a hunch about something,
you gotta follow the hunch. Honestly, like, especially in that type of life. Especially going into like, I know they explained, like they talked about him like, oh, you don't know the rules, you gotta learn the rules and shit. Like, but at the same time, like, if the dude does have a hunch, if he says, hey, we should move this shit now, you should probably move the shit now. Because of the cops snooping around and whatever. Probably cops that couldn't be paid off or bought or whatever. So, but I mean, I guess like if you almost cost him $400,000, not that I say like I understand it, because like I fully understand it, but like I can see why.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Thing would have happened and especially in the 1980s, that's a huge fucking number. What is 400K? I think it's probably like 700K today. 400K in 1985.
Like commas, not just one. That sounds like two. Go and do the math. Well, I don't know. This was a very enlightening episode. Not one of my favorites so far.
It's not that much.
Right.
It's only 100,000 more.
Really?
Oh no, wait, no, it's about 1 million today.
Yeah, definitely knew it was 2 commas. Like that's different. That's really different. I don't know, but this really wasn't one of my favorite episodes. It was very enlightening to know that there was the mafia up in Canada. like I said, I really thought, okay, because New York is not really that far, and that's exactly what they were saying.
It's not. Absolutely.
I went on a school trip. That's like 4-hour drive. So it I don't know. It's just, you always have to be wary about certain things, but I don't know. It wasn't one of my favorite episodes, but I got a lot of information. So found out about a wrestler I didn't know too much about, and some of Canada as well.
The gangster part of Canada.
Yeah, that you did not think existed.
I still don't think it exists.
Well, they left now, I'm sure.
Nah, they're probably still there. You can't just, you don't just leave.
Yeah, you just don't leave cigarettes behind.
Exactly. Or heroin now, whatever they're doing up there now.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place.
I need to go. I haven't gone yet, man.
I want to.
I haven't gone, but I always see pictures. I'm like, yo, that shit looks fucking awesome. And I always hear good things about there.
It's always cold, but it's always nice.
I'm okay with the cold.
Yeah.
Same.
It's not that. It's like I said. It's not that much further from here, so it's not that big of. It's not. Super,
I heard it's a difference.
Depending on where you're going, though.
True.
Quebec, not too different, but yes, 10 to 20 degree drop, pretty much, depending on time.
That's pretty significant, depending on the time of year.
Yeah. Depends.
We should make a
Koola, have you been outside when it dropped 10 degrees?
It's a big difference.
Not to 10 degrees, 10 degree difference. 10
exactly.
Degrees.
So
that's still a big difference.
From 40 to 30, that's a huge difference, dude.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. I'm not going in December.
No, but if it's let's say if it's 76 degrees, 80 degrees over there, it would be if it's 80 degrees here, we fly over there and it's only 70 degrees, you're going to be like, oh. Remember when we flew from New York where it was hot as fuck to Vegas where it was 60 degrees when we landed? We were just like, what the fuck is going on? It was cool. We were just like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird times, good times. But any last thoughts on the Dino Bravo?
It just gave us a good insight to another wrestling promotion back then. It was another small wrestling promotion who was trying to develop stars, and that's pretty much it.
What about you, E?
I didn't know much. I didn't know anything about Dino Bravo going into it, so it was very interesting. Going in open-minded and everything.
Okay.
What's next week?
Oh, it's David Schultz. So do you guys remember the clip of the guy that smacked the reporter that actually was fake? Him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh?
I'll watch that.
That guy. So I'm really ready to see that shit.
He beat the shit out of that.
two fucking flat. Just 2. What is wrong with you telling me I'm fake?
He almost killed him. Poor guy. That's funny though. That's funny. That's gonna be a good episode. I think it's gonna be a good episode. I think so far they've done a really good job this season, especially just how they're putting the episodes out and how it's. I mean, they did a great job last season, but the way they're pacing the season, I think it's being paced really well. So
yeah, it's a lot of okay. Good story, interesting story, a lot more interesting. And then, what do we have next? We have Herb Abrams. I'm not too sure about who that is, but Herb Abrams and UWF. But that's another talking point about what we learned so far. So
yeah.
I really like to see what they do in season 3.
Oh yeah, I want them to go outside of the U.S. a little bit, not only other because I'm pretty sure there's other shit in England, obviously. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of shit in England, and maybe Japan. I've said Japan quite a few times already. So like it would be interesting for them to do that and explore those other countries.
Between that and maybe some small territories as well.
Yeah, that'd be great too. Yeah.
That's that
because they do explore little pockets of it, like with the New Jack stuff and like other like how they come up through it. But like if they were to do like a 1 hour episode about like just the territory itself, that would be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I also want to know about the house that Jeff Hardy had burnt. Well, he didn't have it burnt down, but he had a house that burned down. I want to know about that. I don't think that's going to be this worthy, but
he was drunk. But yeah, with that being said, I think this is the end of the episode.
That's a whole story in itself.
Yeah, it is. He is an enigma, as they say. Like he counts himself as an enigma. So like, yeah, that would be a good. I mean, like after he retires, I think that would be a fucking great episode to do on him. But yeah, fuck WWE. He could do it after he's out of contract. Whatever.
I'm saying once he leave there.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have to fight for that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for the episode. We had some good insights, good talk. Thanks again, guys, for being here and talking. I know you had a little technical difficulties, but
you're welcome.
But why you being a dickhead? Yeah, I just had to throw it in. I like this song. Stop being a dickhead. But yeah. Huh?
What a movie?
I have no idea. I just found it on the Button website that I found. I was just like, oh, that's a good one. That's made just for fucking Koola. But yeah, so you can follow us on Twitter at Pokes and Chokes, myself at _Mr. Alex 25 _ the other guy at NU _ KEWLA, Tev at on Twitter at anomalous
Fringe.
Yes, and on Instagram at anomalous _ enigma, and Lil E Langston at World of Bando on Twitter, and a bunch of Roman numerals on Instagram. You need to change that shit, motherfucker. Also, Facebook.com/Pokes and Chokes, Instagram, Pokes Chokes Podcast, Patreon.com/Pokes and Chokes. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts or Google Music, and Stitcher and Transistor. Thanks again for watching, guys. Thanks again for being here, everyone else. And we'll catch you guys next week with the next episode. Peace out.
Don't forget to put this one up, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know.